welcome everybody to our video marketing study group office hours. It's May 5th. I was just telling Corey, I think this is about our 18th version of office hours. So these are becoming pretty comfortable. We're excited to have you here. Thank you for joining. We appreciate that as always. As I've mentioned a couple of times, let us know who you are in the chat, where you're coming from. Of course, if you have questions throughout this presentation, we want to make this very casual. Of course, it's very just open speaking. So if you want to come on camera, come on audio, of course, we can make you do that. If you want to just ask a question in the chat too, throw that in the chat and we're happy to discuss those questions as well. Hopping into some introductions. My name's Aaron Oberdick. I'm the video marketing manager here at Nextiny Marketing. I'll let Corey introduce himself there.
And I am Corey Christian. I'm our multimedia marketer here at Nextiny.
We need to have some like fun facts or something next time we do this because I feel
I'm a
like,
little more interesting.
yeah, people probably know who we are by now. So, guys, if you haven't joined the HubSpot Video Marketing Study Group, this is a place where we're just discussing anything video related. So, if you have video questions regarding equipment, you can ask it here. If you have video questions regarding, marketing concepts, how to come up with certain ideas for videos, of course, anything video related, make sure that you join the study group because we're discussing these kind of things there every day, and we have loads of questions kind of coming in through the pipeline. You can ask. It's more of a community based conversation as well. Of course, Corey and I are in there, but there's a lot of other video experts in there as well, kind of just discussing different things. So of course, hop into the video marketing study group and join there. We're growing every day. In terms of agenda, what we're going to be going over today. So, we're going to be covering the HubSpot Video Bootcamp for marketing, sales, and service. I see on the attendance list a couple of you guys are in the current bootcamp. So, thanks for joining us. Of course, one of those requirements is joining in office hours. So, we appreciate you being here. We're going to mainly discuss weeks 1, 2, and 3 recap. So if you are from the boot camp, it's going to be a nice refresher of what we covered in those first 3 weeks. Once we talk about the boot camp, then we're going to hop over into some updates in the video world. Corey's going to discuss a trade show that just happened, NAB out in Vegas, and just talk about some updates that came out from that. And then we'll hop into the study group and boot camp questions. Of course, we like to highlight certain questions here on office hours and just discuss it a little bit more at length and talk about it in person. So let's hop into the content now. So bootcamp for video marketing, sales, and service. What exactly is it? So the bootcamp is think of it like an extended course like office hours. I know a lot of you guys, I see familiar names in the attendance list every month. So think of it like a more concrete, in-depth look at video marketing, sales, and service, the whole realm of it, right? So we go into the aspect of recording. You learn how to get video set up on your computer, how to record your entire process, go through it all. We record sample videos such as email signature videos, video voicemails, sales outreach, and then once we have all that knowledge of recording, we go through how to better set up your framing, your lighting, getting your video and audio optimal and set up. And once we have all of that really optimized, then we re-record an email signature at the end for an improved email signature. So it's just really to get comfortable on camera and start to utilize video for marketing, sales, and service. But on the other side of that, we also go through video strategy and implementation. So while you're learning how to get better at recording a video and getting more comfortable on camera, we're also talking about those video concepts. How do you decide what videos you're going to start creating? We talk a lot about brand affinity marketing and how that's at the forefront right now. And then video setup. Like I just mentioned, we kind of optimize your background, your lighting scenario, and we just optimize that video setup. That way, when you're ready to send over anything video related for marketing, sales, and service, it's optimized in the best way possible visually. So a week by week breakdown, what we talk about in that boot camp. We first hop into introduction to video marketing, right? So we're talking about why video, the statistics of video. Then we hop into video marketing ideas and concepts, right? Once we've solidified the idea through statistics and whatnot, okay, we've decided we want to start recording video. Now we need ideas and concepts. So we walk you through several different concepts you can start creating for your brand. Once you decide on a concept, week 3 is video pre-production. So it's really preparing creating a brief, creating an outline, any script if you need to have everything prepared and ready to go for that video shoot. Then week 4, we're going to talk about that actual video shoot. So things you should be doing while recording, things you should be thinking of for post production, just really optimizing the video shoot as beneficial as possible. That way, going into post production, it's as easy as possible to edit the video. Then week 5 is all about post production. We're going to talk about editing video and promotion, where you can host your videos. I know one of our questions that we're going to be highlighting later in this presentation is really going to be covering about the hosting platforms. So we talk about that length in week 5. And then week 6 is really all about analytics. We're measuring the success of the videos we've created. We're looking back on a 3-month mark, a 6-month mark, a 1-year mark, and really looking at the statistics and going, how can we improve this video? Are there any sort of pain points? Are there drop off points in the engagement? And we really get into the nitty gritty details there of really understanding how to optimize video. So that's kind of a week by week breakdown of how you're going to run through the boot camp. And I'll hop over to the next slide here. Now, before I get into this part, I want to talk about our next boot camp because currently we're running the Q2 boot camp. That's happening for another 3-4 weeks or so. And Corey, do you remember the exact start date of Q3? I want to say it's sometime in July.
I believe so. I don't have the exact date. I think it's late July.
Okay, so Q3 boot camp is going to be starting in July. So if you guys are interested in this, we'll go ahead and put in the chat the registration link for the boot camp. You can go over to that page, register. You can check out just more information about the boot camp overall, but definitely make sure you register for that because again, it's a very intensive, course that we go through on a 6-week basis. And there's a little bit of homework. There's nothing too crazy that you have to complete, but you will learn how to create video for marketing, sales, and service throughout that 6-week process. So definitely register if that sounds interesting to you. And then if you want to get a little bit more information about it, we did have kind of a recap of our Q1 boot camp. So you can check out our hug. We do one of these every quarter as well. It's about an hour-long presentation. And our last hug was on March 24th, where we really recapped the boot camp in an extensive hour-long presentation. So definitely go check that out if you're interested about joining the boot camp in Q3. All right, we're going to just continue along and talk a little bit more about boot camp. So, really, the office hours today, we're just going to review the first 3 weeks of that boot camp. I'll go a little bit more into detail on each week that we covered. So, boot camp week 1 is all about introduction to video, right? A lot of people sign up for the boot camp, and there's all different levels of video. People come in and they've never done a single video, they've never recorded anything, but they're just wanting to get started. And then you get a lot of people that are videographers joining, and they just want to learn more about how to optimize video, how to get videos started for more specifically towards that marketing and sales and service aspect. A lot of them are creating video and they know how to shoot a cinematic shot, but they don't really know how to create those concepts and really come up with that thing. So you see a lot of different people on the spectrum, but we cover really the entirety of video marketing, sales, and service. So that first week, we really hone in on why video, why is it important? So we cover a lot of the statistics from the 2021 Wistia State of Video Marketing Report. This is great because Wistia has like millions of data or users to collect data from and really understand, why are people creating video? What are they doing video? What are they doing with video? What is their goal? What is their end goals for video? So it's a really great report, and I highly recommend reading that if you're trying to convince someone that they need to get into video. The different types of video shoots. So we talked about on-set video shoots and how you can have a whole team of people and really just the coordination and the optimization that happens versus your at-home video production. So this is going to be a lot more simplistic. You're in front of your camera. This is going to be more of, again, simple videos, email signatures, video voicemails, things like that. So we kind of just discussed what are the big differences between the two, and then what videos you'll be creating throughout that 6-week course using Descript. Now, Descript is a software that we utilize throughout the bootcamp, and it's how you edit all of your videos. We do have a little bit higher end videographers that are using things like Adobe Premiere, Final Cut Pro, but Descript is a free to use software with a trial version, so you can test it out. It's a really nice software because it's not high level. When you open it up, you're going to look at it and realize that it kind of looks like a Google Doc that you can edit. So when you record your video, it automatically transcribes all the text that you say, and then you're able to edit the video through the text like a Google Doc versus doing like a multi-track nonlinear editor. So it's a little bit different, and it is a little bit lower of that learning curve. So we really encourage people to try out the script when you're starting video because it's a little bit different, but it is user friendly. So we really encourage that. Now, hopping into week two, we talked about video concepts, right? So, like I just said, week one is really solidifying the idea of why you should start with video, all the benefits that video can bring to you. Week two is all about coming up with the concepts that you need to record, right? So, when you're trying to think of a video, okay, you might think of, well, the first thing I need is a homepage video. I need to explain what my brand is. And that's usually correct. We talked about at length what you should be doing for your homepage video and what you should be putting into your brand video. Then we talk about creating an email signature. We talked about sales FAQ, product and service explainer videos, testimonials. So we really went in detail on all of these different types of videos and why they're beneficial to your company and your brand. And then we wrapped it up with brand affinity marketing. Admittedly, we were a bit quick on this subject, but we will be talking about that through the 6 weeks. And brand affinity marketing, really what it is just an approach to marketing where businesses create and distribute like binge worthy content with the goal of positively impacting overall sentiment, perception, just overall value to your brand, right? You're just trying to bring awareness to your brand and tell people, you are the expert of the subject you're speaking on. So you just solidify that. And as long as you're consistent, you will build that brand through sort of that binge worthy content. So brand affinity marketing is kind of a newer approach, but it's approach that we've really been diving in on. Now, week three, we talked about video pre production. So, everything you really need to be thinking of after you solidify the concept, right? So, okay, you're creating a homepage brand video. Now, what do you need to do from once you've selected your subject to hitting record? So, that's everything we talk about in week three. So, that's, once you determine the type of video you create, then establishing all of your video goals, what you want to have at the end of that video. And then from there, creating a brief, right? It's a very simple outline, then creating a structured outline, and then a script if necessary, if it's any sort of narration or voiceover. Once we've talked about all of that, right? You have all your documentation, you're ready to record. You need something to record with, right? So we start to talk about video equipment in that aspect. We go over the different camera options you have, of course, the webcam from your computer, all the way up to sort of high end cameras, and then audio gear as well with the different types of microphones. We talk about lighting with LED panels, using natural lighting, things like that. So that's really what we talked about in bootcamp week three. Again, video pre production, all your equipment, things that you just need to have ready to go before you hit record. So I guess that's just kind of wrapping up the boot camp weeks 1 through 3 recap. So again, if you're very interested, if any of this information is interesting to you, we put in the chat the registration link to sign up for the Q3 boot camp. Again, that starts sometime in July. So definitely check that link out if you're interested in that and register, and we'll see you in the next boot camp. All right. We'll hop over to some trending topics in video. I'll throw it over to Corey to talk a little bit about these next slides here.
Yeah, so NAB is the National Association of Broadcasters. They do a huge trade show every year out in Las Vegas, and this is where you see a lot of just kind of industry announcements, new product updates, and things like that. And this year there was kind of a lot of different solutions that were offered, which is really great for us as like end users, which is nice. One of them that kind of I pulled out of here that I just thought was really interesting. I took the screenshot today for my computer because I have really been looking for something similar to this. OWC made a software called Copy That for Mac, which is a checksum verification software. Like, so super nerdy but amazing, right? Like, this is a software that allows you to basically, as you see, there's a source and a destination. You choose your media. You can use anything from video clips, photos. You can kind of just throw any file at this, even. and then tell it a destination. And what it'll do is it'll copy this in such a way that it makes sure that none of the zeros or ones or any of the digital bits in that file are going to get messed up, which is great. So you know that everything that you're transferring is exactly the way that it was intended to be when it gets to the end. Awesome. It was intended, they market it towards like Red and Airy and Black Magic and all these big fancy cameras, but it literally works for everything, which is awesome. And it also takes thumbnails out of your video clips, and it can give you a report filled with actual little thumbnails on it. So you can kind of like reference everything really quick, which is really neat. And I just think it's pretty polished. It's in beta right now. You can go to the OWC website and you can actually just sign up and download it for free. It's currently only on Mac, but we'll see if they'll charge for it in the future or not. But right now, it's a pretty interesting tool, and I'm gonna definitely kind of poke around with this quite a bit more.
Yeah, it looks really cool. If any of you guys are interested, yeah, it might be a good idea to hop on that too right now, right? Because if you said it might become a paid feature or paid software in the future. So it's always good to hop in early on that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and it's just kind of again, it's useful as it is, and it's pretty stable. I've used other softwares for this before, and
Mhm.
this one seems really nice so far. I've only really done one thing with it, but so far it's pretty cool.
Very nice. All right, we'll move along here.
Yes. This one I love as well. I have one of these Samsung T5 drives here, these little tiny guys. I love these things. They're super fast, super easy to travel with. They just came out with these new T7 versions of this. So they make 1 and 2 terabyte SSDs. They are USB-C connection. They're also IP65, so they're water, dust resistant, they're drop resistant. They're meant to be carried and used. They're not this delicate little teeny tiny piece of hardware. Like they're actually really robust, and you get 1,000 megabytes a second of offload, read, and write speed, which is
Wow.
amazing. So it's really, really quick. It's super compact. I mean, you can see how small this one is. Like it's,
Mhm.
a matchbox size, right?
Yeah.
And really, really, really nice and high end. And they're affordable. I think they're only like
Mhm.
140-ish for a 1 terabyte and only like $100 more for a 2 terabyte, which is crazy. Like regular hard drives were that price just a few years ago. So these things are a lot of really high quality features for a really nice price. So I thought these were pretty cool as well.
Yeah, I definitely paid a lot more than that for a spinning disk drive there a couple years ago. So
Uh-huh.
it's really interesting to just see the price point, especially with the pandemic and how everything has kind of like leveled off or even gone up in price a little bit in the past couple years. It's really crazy just to see the technology and how it's evolving, and the prices are just significantly dropping every year. So really excited to just see where this technology goes, because who knows, we
Yeah.
might be carrying around like 10 terabyte SSDs in our pocket for like $100 in a couple of years. So
I mean, hey, it's not apparently if a 2 terabyte can be made this small, who knows?
yeah, definitely. Rayad asks, how much do they cost? I think you mentioned that the 2 terabyte was like 240 and then the 1 terabyte was 140.
I believe
Um,
so, about that price, plus,
right.
tax and shit, that kind of stuff. But
Mhm.
yeah, really
That's
not
US
not a
dollars.
bad
So,
price. Yes.
yeah, very cool. All right. So that's NAB. NAB is always awesome. It's always exciting because every April, all the video geeks are like, all right, what's coming new? So it's always really exciting to just see what comes out of that show. We'll hop into some boot camp questions that we really had throughout the last couple weeks. So, first question, I'll let Corey handle this. You want to go ahead and take this?
Yeah, somebody asked us, do we recommend ring lights? I don't know if you can tell. I am using one currently. Um Yeah, of course we definitely do. They are, yeah, Aaron is as well. They certainly are quite nice lights. Probably I'd say the number one reason that a lot of people like them is just because of how soft and how kind of neutral the light looks. Um so it's not one of those like you have to go out and go buy a ring light right
Yeah.
now. You can certainly manage to get a similar effect with a lot of other lights. So things like diffusion, it's called. You can buy sheets of it online. You can also just get things like a shower curtain or any kind of opaque or thin material. Make sure it's kind of, not going to catch on fire by hanging it over lights and all that stuff. But, be safe. But you can certainly get a similar kind of nice soft effect without having to necessarily go out and get that ring light. But yeah, they are a nice tool to have for sure.
Yeah. Hopping into the next question here.
Ah,
How,
there we go. And then another
yeah.
a similar light related one.
Hmm.
How do you remove the reflection of light from your subject's eyeglasses? So this one is, yeah, it's kind of a tricky one, right? I have like really whatever I've got the fanciest of reflective anti-reflective glasses, and it still happens to me. So one of the things, if you guys remember school photos, if you wore glasses when you were younger, one of the things I recommend is to kind of maybe try and tilt your glasses up just a little bit. It won't look that odd on your head as you're actually wearing them, but it'll help tilt some of the reflections down. The other thing is to bring your light up if you can and just kind
Hmm.
of physically raise that light source up so that it's kind of out of your subject's eyes a little bit more. Um, Both of those can really help to kind of remove a lot of that um, distracting reflections.
Yeah. And the last question we had from the study group and boot camp is I put all my videos on YouTube, but I don't know, but I know that there are paid options that have better analytics. What are some options? So, this is going to be something we're going to cover in the last section or the last week of our boot camp. We'll talk about several different hosting platforms, but really just to talk about, I guess, the top hosting platforms, especially ones that we utilize. We utilize Wistia. I know Vidyard also has a paid platform to upload your videos and get a little bit more extensive analytics. So there's several different hosting platforms. I'll speak to Wistia just because I know that I deal with Wistia every day. So talking through their analytics, I know they're extremely specific. You can see what IP addresses have watched your video. You can see how much time they've watched your video. They can see how they skipped around in real time, kind of like a heat map. And I know YouTube has something like that, but it's not just as extensive. I know it's relatively basic because it is a free platform. Um, but overall, yeah, Wistia has just better encoding as well. So if you ever upload your video on YouTube, you'll notice that sometimes your video quality is a bit compressed. It's not as good as you may have seen it. This applies kind of to all social media platforms, really. So if you ever upload a 4K video to Instagram and it looks pixelated and like garbage, and you're just disappointed, it's the same thing with YouTube. It happens to all these free platforms. They only have so much space or some, so they can really they have to compress your videos. Now, all the verified people with millions of followers, all their beautiful videos, they're not compressed at all. But the beauty about something like Wistia or Vidyard, Vimeo, even, you upload your videos because you pay for the service and they do not compress your videos in that way. So if you're looking for just a higher overall quality on your videos when putting them on your website or things like that, I would recommend a place like Wistia because you're not going to have that compression and quality loss. But of course, speaking to the analytics, Wistia also offers those advanced analytics, like I was mentioning, heat maps, skipping around times in the video. You can see all that. Of course, play rates, engagement, how much average engagement people are watching. So there's a lot of good information within the Wistia analytics. They have a free, like you can upload up to 3 videos for free on their platform, and you can explore those analytics for free if you want to check that out. And then if it's something that you determined, hey, this was really valuable, these analytics are a lot better, I really want to move forward with Wistia, then you can go ahead and then of course upgrade your package there. So just some options there, though. Wistia, Vidyard, and Vimeo, I think, are the 3 that just kind of pop in my head. Corey, you have anything to add there?
No, I mean, I think those really are all great options. I
Hmm.
mean, I think it is also smart to remember to keep everything on YouTube as well, just because YouTube is such a
Yes.
large search engine, but also a social network. So it can be a really great place to place your content. Um, but you shouldn't rely on it solely as your only option, especially considering unrelated ads and things like that that come into it. You really should have kind of more of a dedicated option that's going to present itself as more professional. But YouTube is always a helpful place.
Absolutely. That's a great point. Like you were mentioning, of course, advertisements in the videos that they'll pop up, 30 seconds in, and then you got to actually physically click the X to get rid of those things. You don't want those kind of advertisements popping up on a video that's embedded on your website. You want to make sure that it's nice and
Mhm.
clean and branded to your website, of course. So,
And you
Wistia
can't turn
video.
that off anymore either. Like, that's you used to be able to turn that off as of a few years ago now, that just is the setting. And
Right.
those search results are based on the person's search result cookies, so they could be totally unrelated to the content of your video.
Hmm.
And in some cases, totally antithetical to the purpose of your video, which isn't great. So it's, yeah, not the best way to kind of necessarily put out information on your site,
Yeah.
at least.
Yeah. Highly recommend videos on YouTube, but finding a dedicated platform to embed on your website. So there's a good answer. All right. So that wraps up the office hours. This is kind of a Q and a session now. So if you guys have any questions, we typically end at 4:30, so we only have a few minutes here, but if you guys do have questions, feel free to put that in the chat. We're more than happy to just kind of hang out and answer anything. So looks like we got Rayad's asking the question here. Do you record the pre-production environment, equipment, site steps, etc.? Um, when you say record the pre-production, I guess, can you expand a little bit on that? Like, what do you mean by that? I guess, Corey, do you know exactly what he's asking there?
Um, I mean, as far as like, do we keep any kind of like record, for example? Like, are we keeping a, kind of an
Like,
organizational
yeah, like an outline
system?
almost.
We use Monday.com for a lot of kind of just project tracking and for things like information, who's on the project, who's going to be editing it, who's shooting, all of those kind of pieces to the puzzle.
Mhm.
We use Monday.com for a lot of that stuff. It just kind of helps us keep really nice and organized. That I'd say is one of our biggest pre-production tools as far as that goes.
Yeah, yeah, now that I guess my brain goes to record and I'm thinking record, actually record on a camera, right? But recording the pre-production steps, I guess. Yeah, so how you would go through that entire pre-production phase. Um, yeah, so like Corey just mentioned, Monday's perfect because it literally, like, you can set status bars on Monday, so you can put like, we're coming up with the concept. And so in that concept, you can kind of break it out into a thread and start to actually have conversations about what concept you want to come up for that video. Once you come up with that concept, you can change the status to then into pre-production, right? And then start talking about, okay, who do we want in this video? What do we want them to say? Just things like that, right? And so as we kind of work through that entire process, we kind of just build it out step by step on Monday.com, I should say. I always say Monday, and people are like, "No, get that to me Thursday." And I'm like, "Oh, confusion." But definitely Monday.com is a great organizational tool. So I see. Yeah.
Get it to you on Monday, on Thursday.
Yeah. I use Nifty PM for project management. Cool. Okay. We'll definitely check that out. I don't have any knowledge or any insight on that, but I'm curious, always curious to see what else we could start utilizing. So we'll check that out.
Yeah, it's always nice just to have a tool for it. There's many different tools for the job, right? Just like with cameras, like, there's tons and tons and tons, endless amounts of cameras, just like there's endless amounts of project management tools. The big thing with it is how you use it and sticking with it. So setting yourself up in a project management tool or something like that, and then really kind of keeping with it and keeping dedicated to like actually using it will help in the long run a whole lot, especially through the production and post-production phase.
For sure. All right. I don't see any more questions coming in, but it's about 4:30. This would be a great time to say, hey, if you have more questions, hop on over to the video marketing study group. Like I mentioned at the beginning of this presentation, of course, these questions you can ask 24/7. So we'll always be there. When we come back to work, we'll hop in and answer those questions, of course. So yeah, great place to ask questions. And yeah, if hopefully you guys registered for the next video marketing office hours. I don't know if we have a link for that or not, but I think that's sometime in June, about 4 weeks from now. So if you haven't registered for that, make sure you do so you can come hang out with us again. Corey, you have anything to add before we hop off here?
No, I think that's it. I think happy Cinco de Mayo to everyone.
Yes, happy Cinco de Mayo. Happy birthday to Corey's wife, Paige, and
Yeah.
everyone have a great day.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Thank you. Take care. Bye bye.